from Bozeman. Before Greg Gianforte's allegation of assault, the race between him and Democrat Rob Quist was already closer than a lot of people anticipated, especially for a state where President Trump won by 20 points. Gianforte has been trying to leverage the president's popularity with this robocall.
So get to the polls and vote for Greg. That's Greg Gianforte. You'll be very proud of him for years to come.
Let's get into this with CNN political commentator April Ryan, who is here with us. She's also a White House correspondent for American Urban Radio Networks. We have former Republican Congressman David Jolly and CNN political commentator Ben Ferguson, a conservative talk radio host. So great to have all of you here. And April, let me just turn to you first. And it's so interesting hearing the spectrum of voters. We heard from Whitney saying this hasn't changed some people's opinions.
Right.
Some are saying that a lot of people voted early.
Right.
That they're now hearing this audio and they want to change their vote. What do you think is better for the Republican Party? For him to win or to lose?
Well, for this president who's supporting him, he wants to see this as a win, even with all of this going on, because he is a staunch supporter, a loyalist to Donald Trump, which he is in need of right now. He does not want people, and he's like him. He's a businessman, a mogul, a business mogul, and Donald Trump needs people like that in his camp who is espousing exactly what he says. And look at what happened with the reporter. This is what the president is talking about. Reporters are enemy of the people. We are opposition party. Steve Bannon said that. But for the Republican Party, for those in Washington, for the Paul Ryans, for the Mitch McConnells, this does not bode well at all. For the president, it's one thing, but for those in power on Capitol Hill, it says something different.
Speaking of Capitol Hill, we heard Speaker Ryan saying he needs to apologize.
Yes.
We also did hear from the House Minority Leader Nancy Pelosi saying this.
And to see this person who wants to be the one representative into the House of Representatives from Montana be sort of a wannabe Trump, use language like that, treat people harshly like that. That's his model. Donald Trump's his model. And we've really got to say, come on, behave. Behave. That was outrageous.
Congressman Jolly, I saw your Twitter. Hay County prosecutor file assault charges against Gianforte and accessory charges against President Trump.
That's it. Listen, welcome to Donald Trump's America. Welcome to the environment he created. Rarely do I agree with Nancy Pelosi, but understand this is what we get when we have a candidate who just 2 years ago suggested, well, I don't want to kill the media, but I do hate them, and they're disgusting people. And we have allowed him to do this, and frankly, the 46% of the people who put Donald Trump in the White House have also contributed to this environment. Understand, though, politically also how weak Gianforte is right now and how weak Republicans are. He snapped because he was being pushed on whether or not he supported the AHCA in a red state that Trump won by 20 points. And he couldn't handle the question. And instead of handling it like a substantive candidate, he put the reporter in a chokehold. That makes what Donald Trump did to April Ryan look like small ball. And I never thought we'd get to that point.
Okay, I hear you. But but Brooke, going back to that point though, and it's true. There is a segment of society that's listening to the president. He's giving this dog whistle, and they're following it. On Twitter, the Twitter trolls have taken over.
Brooke.
It's about giving fact, and people are jumping on us. And I'm telling, just for shaking my head, allegedly, that Sean Spicer said I did, I got a death threat. So, and we had to, we had to file a complaint with the FBI. So this is real. It is not a good state of affairs.
Ben Ferguson.
Yeah, look,
you're shaking your head.
I'm shaking my head because I think it's pretty ridiculous, and I understand why Democrats are trying to somehow connect a guy in Montana that was an idiot to the president because you're trying to score political points. Let's separate and actually hold the candidate in Montana accountable for his actions. This guy and what he did was inexcusable. He should, in my opinion, not only apologize, but he should probably drop out of the race. I think he probably knows he's ahead, and about 7 out of every 10 votes have already been cast because Montana's a unique state where you can actually vote by mail. But to somehow, as Nancy Pelosi and others are now trying to say, oh, well, this was sanctioned by Donald Trump. No, this was a grown man running for Congress who obviously cannot handle the heat that comes with running for office. you hold him accountable. But don't try to score political points and try to connect to the White House, because you're just as bad as the guy who assaulted the reporter. Grow up and hold the adult accountable.
I understand you are separating the two. Do you see, or do you? I mean, is there just a total breakdown in civility though in politics? Do you acknowledge that? Just a breakdown in civility.
Yes, I do. There's absolutely a breakdown in civility on both sides. There are antagonists. There are people, as soon as I get done with this, that will probably say, Ben, you should literally die. I get that almost every time that we're on TV. That's what we've gone now, is people have become incredibly vile as a group. But again, we need to look at this individual as a grown man running for Congress and not try to score political points when dealing with him. And he made a stupid mistake. I personally would not vote for him today. That's the reason I don't like to early vote, because stuff like this can happen. But let's not try to somehow, this is like the kid that gets in trouble and the parent doesn't want to hold the kid accountable, so he blames the friends for getting him in trouble. Well, you're hanging out with bad people. No, you made a bad decision. Don't try to connect it to Donald Trump.
The president and the vice president supported this candidate. The president and the vice president support this candidate with robocalls. The vice president stood by him. This is not about Barack Obama. This is about this president supporting this candidate who is filling a vacancy because the person who was in that seat is now in the cabinet of this administration.
There are people that Barack Obama were in
Why does Barack Obama come into this?
Well, listen to me.
This is not about Barack Obama. This is about the issue today.
You're making my point for me, which is this. When you are the president, you basically support the people that are running on your side of the aisle. There are people that were shady and did stupid things, and some that are disgraced politicians. Anthony Weiner is one of them, which a lot of Democrats supported at one point.
Anthony Weiner,
don't score political points. My point is,
he lost it now.
You don't. My point is this.
Why are we talking about Anthony Weiner right now, my friends? Come on. Let's stay on track.
I think Ben just acknowledged. Yeah.
Congressman Jolly.
I think Ben just acknowledged that Donald Trump acknowledged that Donald Trump has terrible judgment for supporting Gianforte. But here's the other thing. Listen to Ben's point. You can't tie the two of them together. Okay, but listen. Bad candidates can't handle the scrutiny of the press. And that's true of a congressional candidate in Montana, and that's true of the President of the United States, who cannot handle the scrutiny of the press. And that is one thing that Trump and Gianforte have in common. And, Ben, you cannot break up that nexus.
We got to go. David Jolly, April Ryan, Ben Ferguson. We can talk about Anthony Weiner another time, all right? Thank you very much, you guys, for all of your various opinions. We do have more breaking news that we need to get to, though.